Batman versus Daredevil, two gritty dark heroes who dish out brutal justice and love perching on gargoyles. It's an iconic fight between DC Comics and Marvel. But really, even though these characters are very similar, is the fight even that close? And who ultimately wins out? Let's get into it. Now, starting out, Batman. And I want to give him his flowers. The guy has trained himself until he's reached peak human physical levels, and then basically shattered all records and became above peak human. He's strong enough to bench press over 1,000 pounds, rip through metal, or even knock around things that easily weigh multiple tons. And Bruce has no problem using all that strength with his punches or kicks. He's regularly knocking down walls or kicking through metal, regularly knocking out metahumans, and sending people flying dozens of feet with just one strike. Batman might not necessarily look it, and he is supposed to be just a normal human, but you can kinda say that essentially whatever Captain America can do, Batman can pull off something similar. Sure, Steve might be ultimately a bit stronger, but Bruce is well within that super soldier range of strength. Same with durability. Batman is much more durable than you would think, especially with his incredible armor. Now, out of armor, Batman has taken some pretty nasty beatings, even an attack or two from Wonder Woman, so he's definitely tough. His batsuit only adds to that even more. He's regularly taking attacks from all sorts of opponents, some of whom are seriously strong. Talking your Venom amped Banes, your Deathstrokes, even some much heavier hitters like Professor Zoom, Aquaman, or even Superman. And those last two were either mind controlled or just royally pissed off, so they weren't necessarily holding back all that much. Batman still managed to survive all those attacks, even if he came out the other side a little bloodied and beaten up. Lastly, I feel like I should mention speed. Batman is incredibly fast and agile, far superior to even Olympic level athletes. Like at this point, normal people simply move in slow motion to him. He can move so fast that he's just simply a blur. And Batman has routinely been able to dodge bullets and gunfire, even if it's automatic machine gun fire or bullets fired at literally point blank range. Batman can still dodge all of it. He might still call himself just a normal human, but I think it's pretty clear that he's moved a little past that by now. But here's the thing, you can say pretty much all the same things about Daredevil here. They're both technically still humans, just normal men who decided to fight crime. But we all know that in comics, normal people aren't really real. And Daredevil definitely is superhumanly strong. I mean, right off the bat, Matt is regularly shattering metal, breaking it apart with his bare hands. This is light work for Matt Murdock. He also regularly is breaking apart bricks and concrete with his attacks, and he's really no stranger to just lifting heavy things either. Daredevil's been able to flip over a stretched limo with just brute strength. Or what about the time when he picked up a 400-pound barbell and just started swinging it around like a bow staff? That's seriously impressive. And I really think Daredevil's strength is best summarized with just the fact he's gonna beat down Kingpin. Kingpin is the same guy who's been able to overpower the likes of Spider-Man and Captain America, and Daredevil can beat him. Matt is stupid strong. He's also crazy tough. I mean, Daredevil is the son of battling Jack Murdock. He's known how to take a punch since he was just a kid and get back up swinging. I mean, forget just taking beatings from regular criminals or some semi-powerful characters. Daredevil has straight up taken hits from the Hulk before. That's like the upper limits of his toughness right there. He's regularly been able to survive explosions, being burned alive, being hit with serious bolts of electricity. And most of the time, Daredevil doesn't just take the attack, still keep on standing, but he keeps on fighting. Oftentimes, still wins the fight. The man is just insistent on never going down and never stopping. And while he is weak to sonic attacks, and a powerful enough sound wave can knock him out, it's not an instant KO. In fact, oftentimes, Daredevil has proven that he can fight through it and take out the bad guy, even if he's in extreme pain or if his radar sense is knocked out. But where Daredevil really thrives is with his speed and agility. In fact, if it wasn't for Spider-Man, well, I would argue that Daredevil is the most agile character in Marvel. He's also easily one of the fastest street-level heroes. His agility is just absolutely off the charts. He's even had better reactions than Spider-Man and Captain America from time to time. And bullet dodging is just absolutely easy for him. He can dodge point-blank bullets. He can do this regularly too, and just make it look simple. And he's not just able to dodge bullets after they've already been fired, but the man is regularly deflecting bullets too. Just swatting them back with his baton. He's done it so many times, you can say he's kind of the best at it. Basically, both of these heroes are not human. They're seriously some of the best street level heroes out there and are regularly pulling off superhuman feats. I think I would give the edge to Batman when it comes to strength and durability. He's simply shown off better strength feats, and his armor is definitely better than Daredevil's. However, I think Daredevil takes the edge when it comes to speed and agility. Regularly deflecting bullets is no joke. However, the gap between Batman's speed and agility and Daredevil's really isn't that much, especially when you're comparing it to their strength and durability. Batman is taking that physical edge. Now, what about skill and fighting ability and weapons and everything that entails? Well, with Batman, he's arguably the world's best fighter. And if you don't want to put him at the tippy top, well, you can count on one hand the people who are better than him. He's trained to perfection, become a master in every form of combat that there is. He can react and fight without even thinking, and is trained to be able to predict an opponent's move to the point where he knows his opponent's next move before even they do. He's an expert in every single fighting style known to man, a lot of other alien fighting styles too, and so he can quickly and effortlessly switch between fighting styles on the fly in order to perfectly counter and take down an opponent. He's been able to regularly fight against some of the best martial artists in the world, the likes of Lady Shiva, Bronze Tiger, Owlman, even Karate Kid. You know what? He oftentimes wins these fights. Like he's regularly been tested by the best assassins and martial artists in the world. Ra's al Ghul and Shiva are constantly trying to test Batman with the best of the best. They usually pick the most inopportune times, like when Batman is off his game or recovering from grievous injuries. But Batman still tends to come out on top every single time. There's a reason why he's known as the best of the best. But here's the thing, Daredevil is also one of the best and most skilled fighters in Marvel too. And you can say that Matt is able to do a lot of the same stuff that Bruce has done. Like he too has fought against some of the most skilled martial artists in Marvel. Bullseye, Elektra, Karnak, and he's beaten all of them. And just like Batman has regularly been tested by the League of Assassins, Daredevil's regularly been tested by the Hand and other gangs of assassins. In fact, there's the infamous feat of Matt Murdock, not Daredevil, beating 100 armed Yakuza members, half of whom were hopped up on MGH and strong enough to punch through a human. Matt won that fight. And while Batman is experienced with nerve strikes and pressure points, I don't think anyone is better than Daredevil. Matt is one of the few fighters who consistently uses nerve strikes pretty much every fight, and some of them are seriously painful and dangerous. They're able to completely bypass durability and leave some pretty powerful and tough opponents just lying crippled on the floor. So those nerve strikes definitely give Daredevil an edge over Batman. Matt uses them much more frequently and is arguably better with them too. But I think in terms of overall fighting skill and ability, you have to give the edge to Batman. There are very few people who can claim to have mastered every single fighting style known to man. For as good as Daredevil is, Batman still holds that edge. He also comes equipped with pretty much every weapon and gadget you could possibly imagine, outside of guns and stuff, of course. He's got Batarang, his signature weapon. It's probably one of the world's best shots when it comes to throwing them. He's got some pretty serious explosives, some of which can stagger and knock back Kryptonians. He's got electrical weapons powerful enough to send out tens of thousands of volts, sonic grenades, even knockout gas or tranks that can put down superhumans. Now Daredevil does have his baton, and the man is basically a god with that thing, because he can defy physics like no other, but it can't compare to Batman's arsenal. And for as good as Daredevil is with that baton, it's not like this is gonna catch Batman off guard, or it's nothing that Batman hasn't seen before. Then there's Daredevil's radar sense, and this is simultaneously one of Daredevil's greatest assets in the fight, and also his Achilles heel, because with that radar sense, it completely negates Batman's stealth and any element of surprise. Because suddenly, Batman won't be able to sneak away into the shadows or use any kind of sneak attack. It just won't work. Daredevil has a consistent 360 view of his surroundings, and he'll always have Bruce in his sights, no matter what Batman tries to do. It is not just that either. Daredevil's senses are so highly tuned that he'll know everything that's in Batman's arsenal, so Batman can't catch him off guard with that either. Like, Matt will know which Batarangs are normal Batarangs and which ones are explosive or shock or something like that, so he'll be able to react and dodge accordingly, completely taking away the surprise element that Batman usually has with those types of attacks. But it's also his Achilles heel, because obviously Daredevil is blind. He relies on that radar and those senses to fight, and he's fighting against the world's greatest detective here. It won't take Batman long to look at how Daredevil fights and figure out that he's blind. Now, it is kinda up in the air just how many people in comics know that Daredevil is blind. It leads to some pretty funny moments, but it's also not necessarily like Daredevil hides it. You just have to know what you're looking for, and if Sabretooth is able to figure out that Daredevil is blind in their first fight, well then obviously Batman can too. Again, world's greatest detective. And from there, well, it's flashbangs and sonic attacks galore. Batman is going to do everything he can to throw off Daredevil's senses and give him the edge in the fight. And yes, Matt isn't usually KO'd by these attacks anymore. In fact, he's able to recover surprisingly quickly to most of them. He's even been able to win fights before with no radar sense whatsoever. But he's not just fighting against anyone here. He's fighting against Batman. Even just a few seconds with Daredevil being slightly thrown off his game, well, that's all Batman needs. I mean, Batman is already an arguably better and more skilled fighter than Daredevil. You give Batman an edge like this on top of that, well, there might be no coming back from that. So Daredevil's biggest advantage is probably his slightly better speed and agility, then he's better with nerve strikes and pressure points. But Batman is basically just as skilled with nerve strikes, he just doesn't use them as often, and he knows counters to pretty much every single one. Then on top of that, he's stronger and tougher and a much more versatile and seasoned fighter. He knows every fighting style and he knows counters to every fighting style, meaning he knows the perfect fighting style to counter Daredevil's Irish boxing. And you throw on top of that Batman can mess with Daredevil's radar sense at will, and that's a lot stacked up in his corner right there. And really, Batman just has too many advantages to lose. You know who agrees here? Both Marvel and DC. In a crossover comic one time, Batman fought against Bullseye, Daredevil's arch nemesis, and Bullseye admitted that Batman was better and a more dangerous fighter than Daredevil ever was. Daredevil definitely deserves his props, but he's not beating Batman here. It's not even close. Batman wins. But what do y'all think? Sound off in the comments down below. I know you're gonna have thoughts and feelings on this one for sure. If you stuck around this long and made it to the end of the video, that's amazing. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting us. And if you want to go subscribe, well, go subscribe. You're going to see more videos like this one every single week. I'll see y'all then. I'll see y'all next time.